let me ask you this. Let's say hypothetically Hillary Clinton was president. Do you think that she would nominate Garland?
No.
You think she'd go more liberal?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because I grant that they think that they're doing this for political reasons, right? I think that if it was the first year of Obama, he would have picked someone more liberal, okay?
And he has picked people more
That's
liberal.
because I was just about to say, that's because he already has,
Yeah.
right? Now, mind you, those liberals are almost completely pro-corporate anyway, right? Because that's who Obama is. So if you're waiting for him to be a champion of workers' rights or the rights of American citizens versus the corporate machines that rule us all, you got the wrong guy. That ain't Obama, okay? But on social issues, his picks have been decidedly liberal. Great, okay? At least on that front, all right? But so that if Hillary Clinton, who is incredibly similar to Obama, if it was her first year and she had a chance to pick, she would pick someone, I think, on social issues more liberal, who would also be very pro-corporate. Okay, that's exactly
more than likely. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so that's not Garland. That's someone else, and they'd probably think about gender and race and all of that stuff. And they think they're being clever here, but it's the same mistake they've made 1,000 times. Let's agree with the Republicans and show the country how wrong they are. Yeah, that's genius.
Yeah. Well, okay, I want to run the video because I want to put some of your fears at rest, since it doesn't look like he's going to get a hearing, let alone a vote. Here is Mitch McConnell talking about the possibility that he will actually end up on the Supreme Court.
Of course, the American people should have a say in the court's direction. It is a president's constitutional right to nominate a Supreme Court justice, and it is the Senate's constitutional right to act as a check on a president and withhold its consent. As Chairman Grassley and I declared weeks ago and reiterated personally to President Obama, the Senate will continue to observe the Biden rule so that the American people have a voice in this momentous decision. Our view is this: give the people a voice in filling this vacancy.
That is the fakest thing I've ever heard from a senator.
No, I agree with Mitch McConnell.
Which part?
We should give the American people a voice in filling the seat. They should get to pick the president. Oh, right, they did.
Oh, they did.
Okay, the president serves for 3 years, right?
Yeah, 3 years. Well, especially in the second, maybe 2.5 years in the second term.
Oh, wait, I'm hearing that the president actually serves for 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, what a lucky break for us. Mitch McConnell agrees that American people should get to pick, and they did. They picked the president to serve for 4 years, and fully within his constitutional power, not a little bit, the core of his constitutional power is to nominate a Supreme Court justice, which is what he's doing. So I assume we agree that we can move forward.
Yeah, and look, John McCain said that you can't do this when you're a lame duck, and so I brought up PDF, the Constitution, and I searched for lame duck, and I couldn't find it in the Constitution. Seems like it's actually just bullshit that people make up.
I thought you guys were strict constructionists.
Yeah.
I don't see lame duck anywhere in the Constitution. I see 4 years in the Constitution. Strict construction, motherfuckers.
And it gives the Senate the ability, as Mitch McConnell says there, to withhold their consent. I don't think anyone, including Mitch McConnell, believes that it was withhold your consent for as long as you'd like for no reason other than politics. I'm pretty sure that's not why they put that in the Constitution. And so they're saying they're not going to actually have hearings, let alone a vote. There's something like 7 Republican senators who've said that they will at least meet with him, if not have a hearing. And who knows what's going to happen. On both the left and the right, there are people planning in advance of the nomination being announced to hold protests around the country to run ads and things like that. And it will be, regardless of who the nominee is, an election issue.
Okay, I have got to give you a quote from Orrin Hatch to tell you how much.
Oh, I have a bunch of those quotes if you want.
I know. We've got dozens of quotes from Republicans saying how awesome Garland is, when 32 of them voted for him in earlier proceedings to put him in the federal system in the first place. But Orrin Hatch, one of the most conservative senators in the country, said about Merrick Garland, "I believe he is not only a fine nominee, but is as good as Republicans can expect from this administration. In fact, I would place him at the top of the list." So here's a guy who is at the top of the Republican wish list in a Democratic administration. Okay. So they're saying we literally could not do any better than this guy. And yet they still block him.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I
Are
know
they not
that-
merciful?
Yeah, I know that that's the game that the Democratic Party is playing. Ha, we'll pick someone you love and then make you block him. Again, I don't think that's clever, but the one thing you have to give that strategy is, yes, it does make the Republicans look like the worst obstructionists we have ever seen in Washington, D.C. Now, if they can't bludgeon them with this, then they are really incompetent as a party and should just retire the party.
I find reading any of the recent quotes or watching the video of them talking about Obama nominating someone to be about as insufferable as anything outside of a Donald Trump speech. When they say that he's trying to pack the court by filling seats. And they say that about the lower levels too. Packing the court is literally creating new seats on the Supreme Court and putting more people on it, not just filling the spot. And also they say that considering that theoretically the ideological balance of the court is going to shift for a long time, which is 100% true, the American people should be able to, you can't possibly do it until there's another election. Man, they replaced Thurgood Marshall with Clarence Thomas. And they get to talk about how conservative Scalia's replacement needs to be. It was not only a massive shift in ideology of the court, it was also spitting in the face of every liberal, every African American in the country. It was a direct insult to liberalism and the Democratic Party. And they think that they should get some sort of weird clone of Dick Cheney combined with Clarence Thomas.
But the fault here is with the media. Because when they say, hey, conservative justices should be replaced with conservative justices, the media has to point out that is historically not remotely true, it's not constitutionally true, it's not true in any shape or way. So if you don't do that as the media, if you don't point that out, you don't question the Republicans on that, well, you're miserable at your job. Okay, what you do is you're a lapdog and you just go, he said, she said, I don't know what facts are. Now, if you say I don't know what facts are as a journalist, you're pretty bad at your job.
Yeah.
So now that's point one, and it is indisputable. There is no rule about a conservative justice replacing a conservative or a liberal justice.
If it has
replacing
ever
a liberal.
happened, it's coincidence.
That's right.
And that's it.
It's not a rule. It's not a thing that exists. Okay. Second of all these.
It's not even a tradition. It is simply you coincidentally have a Republican or a Democrat when a spot opens up. That's all it is. You will never in your life, from now until the day you die, see a conservative Republican president put a hardcore liberal up, if by anything other than accident, for a spot on the Supreme Court. That they turn out to be liberal later on. They would never do it intentionally.
There is no such thing as the president can't appoint someone in a lame duck year.
Doesn't exist.
That's not a thing that exists. And in fact, in 1987, the Republicans did it. They nominated Kennedy in 88 in an election year. They confirmed him. I believe it was 97-0. So that is not true. It's not a he said, she said. It's not, this is their position. This is, if you're a journalist, you're supposed to do your job and bring out the facts, not I'm scared to tell Republicans that what they're saying isn't true.
Yeah.
So now on at least 4 different issues here in this particular case, there are very clear facts. When they do obstruction that is going to hold out a Supreme Court nominee for 3 times longer than any nominee has ever been held up, that is record-breaking obstruction and must be reported as such. If you say the Republicans say this and the Democrats say that, you're a miserable failure at being a journalist. Because a journalist isn't supposed to be neutral to the facts. They're supposed to be objective about the facts. They're not supposed to be neutral to the parties and be scared to death of calling out politicians. They're supposed to be watchdogs of the government and call out politicians on any side that are not showing the people facts. Okay?
Yeah.
That's your job. And I guarantee you they will not do it.
Nope.
They'll be scared to death to call the Republicans what they are in this case, with very specific instances, liars. Okay,
Use hostage takers.
Now I know that NBC and ABC and CBS and all these guys, they would wet themselves before they'd call a Republican a liar. Oh my God, that seems so biased to actually say the truth, right? Now, if someone is lying about something, that's what you call them a liar. But I know you're not going to do that. But I'm not asking you to do that. And I'm not asking for your opinion on Roe versus Wade or Citizens United. I'm asking you to report facts. So in every case when a Republican says, president doesn't appoint in a lame duck years, it is your job as a journalist to say that is not true, okay? When they say a conservative always replaces a conservative, it is your job as a journalist to say that is not true. That is counterfactual, not true. Now, are you going to do your job? Are you going to do your job? The answer is, and I know it already, no, you're not. You're going to say, he said, she said, I'm scared, I'm going to run for the hills.
Gotta hate the media.